All right, good morning. It is it's the 7th of June already. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to everybody out at RSAC, although you're probably not awake just yet. I'm Brian Haugli with Side Channel. Welcome to the daily discussion. So, what do we got going on in the world today? Well, quite a bit, and sorry for being out. Our little company decided to get acquired and are now waiting on the closing conditions to finalize our acquisition by CypherLock. Very excited to go forward on that. So thanks for all the support, all the questions, comments, everything else. Just thank you, everybody. It's been a great ride. It's going to continue to be a great ride. We're very excited about the future of what this means. We're not going anywhere. So hang on to your hats and stay tuned for more news as we keep moving through the process, right? First M&A for me. So, been very exciting. So anyway, what do we got going on with the daily discussion? Ransomware attack sends U.S. county back to 1977. Somerset County, New Jersey, unfortunately, I think my dad had this very same record player or radio player hit by a ransomware attack that really just knocked out a majority of its operations. Taking a look at the article on the Register, 911 systems, jails, and courts were still functioning, but other systems, other main components of administration within the county and everything really kind of hit hard. Kind of interesting and timely, I spent the last week of May down in North Carolina at Nickel-Giza. Shout out to all the folks I saw down there. Focused on counties and cities and municipalities within North Carolina. And it's interesting to see that, now another county, although in Jersey, is hit. This is a big theme that's been kind of picking up as of late. And why? Because I think there's it's an under-resourced type of organization, much like mid-market corporate America. You've got counties, cities, municipalities who are in the same vein, right? They're strapped for resources. They don't necessarily have a clear direction or guidance on how to approach cybersecurity, and they might not have what we would expect to be in place for a good, solid cybersecurity program. There's a couple things that I'm thankful for when I wake up in the morning, and I say this to a lot of folks inside of the civil and society supporting space. Say that 10 times fast. I wake up, flush my toilet, means the water's still working in my town. I go downstairs, I turn on the coffee maker, means that the electricity is still working in my town. After that, it's a pretty good day. It's amazing how much we rely on within society that is now completely managed by IT or OT, operational technologies. What used to be levers and wheels and very analog systems to craft and create our ability to exist as a society, live within a community, is now predominantly technology-based. And I don't believe, based on the attacks and the focus and the stories that I hear from individuals, it's getting a lot better within the local government or state government space. Heck, it's not getting much better in the federal government space, to be honest with you. So if you're looking for solutions, there's a slew of them that are available. I think it's getting the right guidance on what to go do, not just buying the latest shiny object that you were sold, but really set a strategy, figure out what it is you need to do, work towards that strategy, start putting resources towards things that are going to be advantageous to you based on the risk posture that you have. It's not going to get better until I think a lot of organizations and now states and local levels really start getting serious about implementing cybersecurity practices, bringing in cybersecurity expertise, because, as many CIOs as I know that are incredibly smart and capable, their background in security is not as deep as their background in IT. And that should kind of tell us something. Looking on to healthcare, unfortunately, right? If you're happy and living in society, and unfortunately you have a bad day, car accident, cut finger, broken bone, you're going to rely on the healthcare system to be able to, bounce back. Well, these seem to be becoming more and more targets. It looks like Sophos's latest survey puts doubling of attacks from 2020 to 2021 into healthcare organizations, seeing a rising, rise in ransomware. it's an easy play, right? The playbook's working for attackers. Ransomware is not going anywhere. Although I did just read a very interesting article. I'll dig into that. Maybe I can get to that next week or later this week for another DD. But BEC seems to be back on the rise as the ROI on ransomware is not paying out. Remember, folks, the attackers are operating a business. There is an ROI for them to get to you. So they're going to work with whatever they can that has a low barrier to entry, a low cost or an expense, and a high payout. Sound familiar for everybody with an MBA out there? Good. So healthcare enterprises obviously being targeted further. Had the opportunity to actually see Director Ray at the Boston College event put on by Kevin Powers and Boston College. Great event. Been waiting 3 years for that or 2 years to come back. Last one was right before pandemic in 2020. But he did give an entire talk around an attempted ransomware attack at Boston College or Boston Children's Hospital a year ago that they were able to infiltrate or at least get in between and reduce the attack, on that organization, which is awesome to hear that the FBI can step into that when they're called upon. One of the things that I heard Director Ray really kind of hone in on was getting to a conversation with the FBI during an incident as soon as possible. I also heard him say that you should probably know who your local field office is well before you ever actually need them. It's like your incident response plan. First time you pick that up shouldn't be the first time you need it. It's becoming kind of monotonous, but it's the same thing. It's now just scaling out. You should know who is in your FBI field office, who is local to you. Use them as a resource. Get to know them. Have them get to know you. Know when to call them and what to call them for. It's a pretty simple thing, but one of those, hey, the government's here to help. They actually are. Moving on down into cyber insurance, one of my favorite places to discuss. We are seeing rising prices and sinking coverage, but I think a lot of that is due to really the last 5 years. And I had a discussion yesterday with Dark Rhino on a phenomenal podcast with Manoj, who's the COO over there at Dark Rhino Security. I think a lot of what's been happening with cyber insurance and why we're seeing this change is because the last 5 years of cyber insurance coverages have almost been a gimme. So what we're seeing is actually what we should have seen from the beginning, right? I heard a story from a leader inside of cyber a number of years ago where she literally characterized writing cyber insurance as just a cash cow, like they were printing money. It's because they weren't really doing very, very good, solid risk engineering around cyber insurance in the first place. Well, the chickens have come home to roost, right? Now, cyber insurers are realizing what they should have been doing 5-7 years ago instead of just handing out cyber coverages and taking in all this premium. And now they're seeing the payouts are being, and the losses are ratcheting up. They're actually starting to put in place concepts around risk engineering. I think they've got a significant way to go with what's going to be needed to actually hit some type of a balance and get anywhere near what commercial lines would be expecting or even specialty lines would be expecting on a loss ratio. But what we're seeing now is not as if, the before times were the standard. I think what we're seeing now is the standard being set by insurance. And in order for you to get insurance or coverage as a risk mitigation factor for your organization, you honestly need to start taking advantage of the other 3 ways to manage risk. Avoid it, accept it, mitigate it. Transfer is the 4th option. Throwing all of your eggs into the transfer basket for covering your cyber risk is not appropriate, and the insurers are not thinking it's appropriate either. So, welcome to the new world. As you can figure out a way to, self-assess, and then be able to articulate your cybersecurity posture to your broker and to your insurance carrier, you're going to be in a much better position than those who do not. I'll hit up another item, but DoD has actually come out with a ask of NIST. I couldn't find the article through my app here, but I have it separately. I'll talk about that later this week. Essentially, the ask of NIST is, how do we get to better self-assess our own cyber risk? How can we kind of look at what we're doing? Standards are great. I'm a standards fan. But how do we actually go ahead and assess ourselves against that standard? What mechanisms do we have? What tools do we have? I'll give you a little hint. I saw this happening years ago and had to build my own platform in order to go do that. And that's why we released Real CISO. It's an easy way to go, assess what you need to go do. Honestly, I don't care if you use our platform or something else. I mean, your options are Excel, something in the middle, or some type of GRC solution. You figure out, do you want to do it free and be cumbersome? Do you want to have it be very costly and potentially easy? Or do you want to find some middle ground? Saw this years ago, and it was an obvious need within the market to be able to better self-assess your organization against the standard and then get very specific, recommendations to move forward. So whether or not you work with a consultant, you use a platform, you do it on a bar napkin, you need to be able to do some type of self-assessment, figure out what you do. Use that to go back to the insurance carriers, right? And go tell them, hey, this is what my cyber posture looks like. We need to move beyond the applications. The application is like step one. That's the kind of check box. But you really need to be able to articulate your security posture beyond the application, right? Don't just treat cyber insurance like auto insurance. You can't fill it out, send it in, hope you're going to get covered. I feel like a lot of organizations are taking that approach and scratching their heads why they're not covered again. Well, like I said, it's a new normal now. I think we need to start operating like it. I'm Brian Haugli thanks CR on YouTube. Excel is still king. And trust me, there's a lot of great applications for Excel. And there's a lot of great applications where Excel is not the best. But thanks for the comments. I will drop out of this. Hope everybody has a great day. Be safe. It is Tuesday, June 7th. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
With the SideChannel vCISO, you get the highest quality cybersecurity expertise for significantly less than the cost of a full-time hire. We match your organization with the perfect SideChannel vCISO for you. Then you work with the vCISO to assess cyber risk, measure program effectiveness, and identify current gaps. Your vCISO develops an actionable, holistic strategy to enhance your organization's security posture from every angle. Your SideChannel vCISO becomes an extension of your team, providing ongoing support and recommendations. Learn more about how a vCISO can help you at sidechannel.com.